This is the podcast Eel Zebra's Transformations. I am the Eel Zebra. The main purpose of this podcast is to continue journaling so that I keep healing. This is not a diary, meaning that my records won't necessarily reflect events in their chronological order, nor do I promise that the details will be accurate. If listening to my processing of traumas helps someone else along the way, I'll take it as having accomplished something for the higher good of all concerned. But now, without further ado, let's start. I forget what I have already said and what I have not. Having mastered the skill to learn languages quickly, I used to call myself a memory expert, but after the trauma hit last time, my memory is not like it used to be. I hope it's nothing serious and that it's just because I'm still recovering. I've had weird memory-related experiences before. It's summertime. A year has passed since we returned. I'm getting used to it, although at night in my dreams I'm back on that Mediterranean island, eating Mediterranean food, living the life of my dreams. Yet, in my reality, right here, right now, there's that woman, a sales assistant in our local grocery store, with a stare that I can feel without seeing. I feel like she wants to say something to me as well. But something is holding her back. So she stares, secretly, not knowing that I can feel it. Journal record dated March 29th, 2024. This morning there was a partial solar eclipse. I walked outside, but I couldn't see it. Yet, supposedly, it will affect us all, regardless of whether or not we saw it. Astrologers say the effect of it will continue influencing us for the following 6 months and bring change that will not feel comfortable. I'm not afraid. I have good intentions, so bring it on. I'm ready. This transition time will shed what's no longer needed, and if we surrender and lean into that shedding, we have a high chance of coming out on the other side dramatically transformed and on a new, elevated level. There are also some days left until the planet Mercury will no longer be in retrograde. In the meantime, we still need to be extra careful before we speak out. Sometimes it's not that easy to be careful because it's confusing who to listen to. For example, Dr. Brené Brown says, "Keep quiet after disrespect. Don't react." Dr. Joe Dispenza recommends the same. Stay silent and never react if someone hurts you. At the same time, Dr. Jordan Peterson says, "Of course, it's easier in the moment to stay silent and avoid conflict. But in the long term, that's deadly. When you have something to say, silence is a lie, and tyranny feeds on lies." I don't want to contribute to allowing tyranny to feed on lies. End of record. Linda isn't one of my parts. Linda is the former Minister of Internal Affairs and the Defense Minister of Latvia. After resigning, she ran the Hotel Rome in the heart of Riga, but the hotel had to declare bankruptcy as a consequence of the COVID-19 isolation regulations, which apparently caused Linda to relocate to the countryside, where she runs an Airbnb property and writes her books and Facebook posts. Linda and I are Facebook friends. Linda has shared her voice candidly and bravely in her Facebook posts and her books. On March 30th, 2025, Linda's post is about her feelings on the eve of releasing her new book. It's her 4th one, after The Girl with a Gun on the Roof, Almost a Diary, and Almost a Yearbook. In her post, though, she says she's finished working on her second serious book. I guess The Girl with the Gun on the Roof is the first serious one. I tried to look up the reviews and find them on Goodreads, posted in Latvian. The moral of this political biography could be, don't dream of becoming a minister if you want to remain human, says reviewer Inga. She expresses hope that Linda has since healed the wounds that were still bleeding as she wrote the book. Inga also offers a note to potential readers, not to expect a detailed analysis of the political crisis, but rather a feminine reaction to friendships, loyalties, and how politics appears through the eyes of a young, ambitious woman and mother. Her final words to Linda are, "It isn't true that you were as hated as it may have felt." Paula describes the book as powerful, emotional, and deeply human, both Linda and her writing. She says she couldn't put it down and felt so empathetically involved that it was as if she were living the experiences herself. Paula shares that she could sense how much Linda values her friends and family. Her closing words are, "This book inspires you to dream big and believe that dreams can come true, and that in difficult times there will always be a true friend who is happy to see your dreams realized." Reviewer Norrell, a historian, recalls being taught to approach autobiographies with particular scrutiny. She says she has personally compared autobiographies with archival documents and has often found discrepancies. But that's not the case here, she clarifies. She commends Linda for naming names, which she sees as a mark of credibility, proof that Linda understands the legal risk if she had published falsehoods. Norrell also respects that Linda didn't dwell on the details of her personal life, even as she acknowledged the pain of the broken marriage, and that she didn't try to paint everything as if it were all sunshine and rainbows. Not exciting, says Cynthia, though I'm not sure why I expected a political biography to be. I'm sure Linda has read these and other reviews of her first serious book. In her today's post, she admits, even though most comments she receives are positive, some make her feel like she's been kicked in her stomach, like that time when a guy wrote, "What's that granny driveling? I wouldn't want to look at that crocodile and nobody needs her bladder." The award-winning TV writer Laura Belgray, whom I mentioned in my previous episode, also gets triggered by negative reviews, and she's found a method to deal with them. She says, "Don't respond to the haters. Just don't. That drives them crazy. And even if you try to reply, it won't be satisfying because they are never going to write you back and say that you were right." She advises sharing the negative comments with your fans and watching them rally around you, which is good advertising. However, the energy that people bring your way might not be worth it. At least that's what I think. I had been thinking how it would be when we first meet after he gets out of the jail. I was fearing that moment for a long time, carrying a tear gas diffuser in my pocket, thinking he would harm me for disappearing while he was gone. I would be prepared. Yet it happened differently, for which I wasn't prepared at all. I felt someone, a tall man, unexpectedly approached me from behind and put his arm around my shoulders. And then his face was close to mine. "Hi, baby," he said. "What a surprise. Nice to see you." And from across the room I saw her, looking at me from behind the counter. And then I remembered. I remembered her who used to be my best friend. How could I have forgotten? Suddenly I remembered we used to walk together with our babies, share our concerns about our husbands, and our secret thoughts. A part of my missing memory chunk had come back. But I hope to never remember what caused that memory loss. I'm grateful she didn't speak to me and try to remind me of anything. Thank you, friend. I think Linda also has had complex trauma, just like me, and that she's healing herself through writing and sharing. I haven't read her books, but I read her posts. She's a good writer and shares regularly about her joys and depression, her countryside property, and how she decorates her Airbnb for guests. Sometimes I feel as though she is balancing on the edge of oversharing, especially about the men who try to approach her and their clumsiness. Yet what I think doesn't matter, because the truth I see is what matters. And that is, her courage is celebrated. People who love Linda love her for wearing her heart on her sleeve, and there are not that many politicians who do so. I commented on Linda's post saying that her writing helps people realize it's normal to feel and show emotion, that it's okay to be a human. And I meant it with my whole heart. I hope others felt encouraged to share their own truths, and that we are all slowly learning how to make that feel safer through each other's courage. My comment got some likes, and I made a new Facebook friend. Linda seems to be surrounded by mostly supportive people, but what was her true motive of writing that book? I won't be able to have an intelligent guess before I read it, but I'll wait until I visit Latvia. It's a bit too pricey for me to order it from there, or maybe I simply have other priorities right now. I'm reading Laura Belgray's Tough Titties. I started last night. I know that the accuracy of details of my stories would matter only if I wanted to start a legal or political fight, even though I do want to raise awareness of things that ought to change. But right now, I want to learn to do it Laura Belgray's way. It was so funny how she talked about Deborah Fishbone, who bullied her and stole her best friend, also Deb, admitting Deb isn't the bully's real name and that she would never reveal Deb's real name because she didn't want Deb, who's not even Deb, to sue her. I cross my fingers that eventually I get there. But what do you think? Which way should I go? What would you like to hear me speaking of, or more of? What tone do you prefer? Please comment. You've been listening to the podcast of Ilse B. If you like what you hear, please subscribe and share it to show me your support and help me grow. If you want to learn more about me, my causes, my products, and my services, please visit my website ilzebe.com. That's ILZEBE.com. Disclaimers. In this podcast, I talk about mental and physical health and what has helped me to heal. Nothing that I say should be regarded as medical advice. If you have any medical condition, consult your doctor. Also, I'm an artist and storyteller. I'm sharing my stories because that's what artistic people do. Take it as fiction and as a form of my art. Even though I may sound as if I'm recalling events from my past, I don't confirm they actually happened. And if they did, I'm not blaming or accusing anyone, nor should you. I take all my life lessons with gratitude, trusting that they are given to me to expand my soul.